as you say, a lot of the experiments are visual, and you can just notice you can't see your face now. But a very simple, direct thing to do, which I think is worth doing, is to actually point. So if the listener is willing to play a bit, I would ask you just to get your index finger of your right hand or something and point out. So you've actually got to do it because it's just making clear the arrow of attention is out. So you might be pointing at the table or a vase or a window, and you're looking along your finger and there's a thing. Now what I want you to do is just turn your finger 180 degrees around to point back at the place you're looking out of. And notice what you see there or what you don't see. Because I don't see anything right now. I don't see my face, don't see my eyes, don't see any shape or movement or anything. So I'm pointing, I would say I'm pointing at my no face, at this space here, this stillness, this silence even. You can't see your face. I'd say the inward pointing arrow of attention is pointing at nothing, space. Now, this is a nonverbal experience, so I'm putting words on it. I'm absolutely convinced everyone is aware, can see this because you can't see your head. Instead, you see the world. But you may choose different words from me, so that we accept that. So I'd just like you first to notice several things about the view out from this space. That it's a sort of oval view, the field of view, and it fades out all the way around. So whatever you're looking at is most in focus. And then when you get to the edge, as it were, it fades out, and then you can see nothing around it. And I take that seriously. It's sort of hanging in nowhere. The view, there's nothing above it, nothing below it, nothing this side of it. It's just hanging in space. And it's single. So if you look at any two objects, you say, well, that one's bigger than that. You can compare the size. It's relative. I say now, look at the whole view. How big is it? And there isn't a second one to compare it with. So I can't say how big it is. And so the two things to notice here, well, two or three. One, it's single, the view out. I might hear about your view, but I don't experience it. In my own experience, like you say in the app, as a matter of experience, there's just one view. It fades out into nothing. It's not inside anything. I can't say how big it is. Now, close your eyes. See? Now, so you've got a kind of darkness, which, again, is in your app. As you say, it's kind of lit up. It's not just nothing. There's something there. Let's call it darkness. It's not uniform darkness. Now, how big is that darkness? Well, there isn't a second one to compare it with. It's single. So I can't say. And is it inside anything? Well, just like the visual view, no, I could say it's in space or awareness or consciousness. Now I move my attention to sounds, and I hear this voice coming and going, and other sounds. So if I use the same kind of words, the field of sound, like the field of vision, that's all the sounds. How big is it? Well, there isn't a second one to compare it with. And is it inside anything? No, or I say it's in silence. So these sounds are coming out of the silence, going back in. And I think you see here, developing the first person language. I am the space in which the darkness is happening. I am the silence in which the sounds are happening. Now I move my attention to body sensations. And if I put aside my memory, my sort of map, and just go by the sensation, see, lots of different sensations. Now, how big is the whole field of sensation? Well, there isn't a second one to compare it with. It's single. See, I can't say how big it is. And is it inside anything? In this awareness. Now, I identify with my body sensations often enough. So if I say that I can't say how big the field of sensation is, I can say, I can't say how big I am. I'm not inside anything. Yes, I'm single, I'm alone. And then finally, we can move our attention to thoughts and feelings. So think of a number, there's a thought, you see, and Think of the face of a friend and the affection you feel, feelings, see, or anything, problem and anxiety that comes up, challenge you've got. Now, how big is this very complicated field of mind? Well, I don't experience a second one to compare it with. See? And where is it? Well, I think as the Zen people say, it's in no mind, or my thoughts, like my voice, are coming out of nowhere and disappearing again. And this is who I am, this open space. So now when we open our eyes, well, what really changes? The space is full of colors and shapes, magic, but one is still this single space that contains everything. Say that my head is here, you see my eyes, and I know you can see it from, say, 3 feet or 6 feet away. But what I am depends on the range, on where you are looking from. And if you come up to me, then you'll see my face, but come closer, you'll see a patch of skin, and come even closer if you've got the right instruments, and you'll find cells, molecules, atoms, particles, almost nothing. And I'm right at zero, and I say, well, absolutely nothing here, but I'm aware and full of everything. So I say, well, of course I've got a head, I've got eyes, but it's a matter of where I keep them. And I keep them out there in the mirror, and I keep them in other people at a range there. I need them, but they're not central. Now, obviously, this is a very different way of appreciating what one is, but it does actually fit with what science says. And what we've done, you see, is accept what everyone tells us about who we are from their point of view and say, well, you must know more about what I am than I do. And what I'm suggesting is my point of view, which is headless, eyeless, tongueless, without anything here, is valid here. And when I touch my head, you say, well, look, you can touch your head. I say, well, for you, I'm touching my head, but for me, my hands disappear, and there are sensations in awareness. And this is taking it as it's given.